Welcome to the Explainer. Today we're getting into something huge, search warrants. You know, it's that line where the government's power bumps right up against your personal privacy. So, we're going to break down the legal rules, the when, the how, and the why your property can be searched. Let's get you the details you really need to know.
Okay, so let's just jump right in with the big one, right? When can someone legally search your stuff? Your house, your car, anything? I mean, this question really gets to the heart of our right to privacy, doesn't it? And the whole legal answer, well, it all comes down to one single, really important document.
And yep, you guessed it, that document is the search warrant. You can almost think of it like a legal permission slip, you know? It's something a court has to issue, and it gives the police very specific authority to search a person or a place. It's basically the legal key they need to open a door that otherwise has to stay shut. So here's how we're going to tackle this. First up, we'll look at the most common kind, the general search warrant. Then, we're going to drill down into the more specific stuff, like warrants for illegal goods, and, this one's a big one, the power to seize publications. We even see how warrants can be used to rescue people, and then we'll pull it all together to see how this whole system tries to balance state power with your rights.
All right, first stop, the general search warrant. Now, this is kind of the big one. It's the broadest, most foundational power we're going to talk about today. It's really the bedrock for all the other types, but, and this is super important, even though it's broad, it comes with some very, very specific rules.
See, a court can't just hand these out like candy. The law says there has to be a reason, one of 3 specific triggers. So first, the court thinks someone is just going to ignore a summons to produce a document or an item. Second, a really important item is just gone, and nobody knows who has it. And the third reason is a bit of a catch-all, right? It's when a general search is just plain necessary for some kind of official proceeding, an inquiry, a trial, you get the idea. So yeah, it's a big power, but it's definitely not a blank check.
And like I said, this power is not unlimited. The law actually builds in some really critical safeguards. For instance, a warrant has to be super specific about the exact place to be searched. This stops the police from just going on a massive fishing expedition. And get this, when it comes to things like your mail, the bar is set even higher. Only a high-level judge, like a district or chief judicial magistrate, can authorize a search of something in postal custody. That's a pretty serious layer of protection for your privacy. Okay, so we've covered the broad general warrant. Now, let's narrow our focus a bit and look at a more specialized tool, the warrant for illicit goods. We're not talking about a wide-open investigation anymore. This is all about targeting very specific spots that are suspected of holding stolen property or other illegal stuff. So how does this actually play out? Well, a magistrate gets some information, they look into it, and if it seems legit, they can give the green light to a police officer. And it's interesting, the law is clear that it has to be an officer above the rank of constable. They then get to enter and search a specific place. See, it's not random, it's super targeted and has to be based on a credible reason to believe that something illegal is going on at that location. But what does the law even mean by objectionable articles? That sounds a little vague, right? Well, actually it's not. The law is incredibly specific. We're talking about things like counterfeit coins and cash, forged documents, fake seals, obscene objects, and even the tools and instruments used to make all that stuff. By defining it so narrowly, the law tries to prevent this power from being abused. All right, let's shift gears to a really complex and honestly fascinating area, the government's power to seize publications. This is where things get tricky, because you've got state security on one side and freedom of expression on the other. It's a real legal tightrope walk. Just listen to the language from the law itself. It says the government can declare every copy to be forfeited. Wow, that is some serious power. If the state government thinks a newspaper or a book has illegal content, it can basically say, that's ours now, every single copy. You can see how this has a massive impact on things like freedom of the press.
But there's a but, and this is where that balancing act comes in. So on one hand, you've got the state's huge power to seize stuff, but on the other, citizens have a direct way to fight back, the right to appeal. You've got just 2 months, but you can take your case straight to the high court, and it's not just any hearing, it's heard by a special panel of 3 judges. That's a huge deal. And if they think the government got it wrong, they can completely cancel the forfeiture. It's a powerful check on a powerful, well, power.
Okay, so far we've talked about things, right? Documents, illegal goods, publications. But now we're moving on to what is maybe the most important job a search warrant has: protecting people, protecting human life and liberty. So under Section 100, if there's a reason to believe someone is being held against their will, wrongfully confined in a way that's actually a crime, a magistrate can issue a search warrant. And the goal here is simple and it's urgent. Find that person. And once they're found, they're brought straight to the magistrate, who can then do whatever is necessary to make sure they're safe. It's a direct, powerful tool to protect someone's freedom. And there's a very similar and just as urgent power for cases of abduction, specifically for a woman or a female child under 18. If someone makes a sworn complaint, a magistrate can act fast. They can issue a warrant and order the immediate restoration of that person to their family. They can even authorize force to get it done. It's all about swift, decisive action to protect the most vulnerable among us. So we've covered a lot of ground, right? We've gone through all these different kinds of warrants. So what's the big picture here? What are the key things to remember? When you boil it all down, the law really gives us 4 main pillars of warrant power. You've got your broad general warrants for big investigations. You've got your super specific warrants for illegal items. Then you have those unique forfeiture warrants for publications, but with that all-important right to appeal. And last but definitely not least, you have the liberty warrants, the ones used to literally rescue people. Each one is a different tool for a very different job, from digging for evidence to saving a life. And in the end, that's what this is all about, isn't it? A delicate balancing act. On one side, you have the power of the state to investigate crime and keep people safe. On the other, you have our fundamental rights to privacy and freedom. Knowing what these rules are is the first crucial step. But it leaves us with the biggest question of all, one for all of us to think about. Has our system actually gotten that balance right? Thanks for joining us for this explainer.